Hey, what's up? My name is Daniela and welcome to a new video. So today is an exciting day because I'm starting a new video series called What's on my TBR. So in each edition of this series I will be talking about my TBR and I will be splitting it into individual genres or other categories, but for now I have a few genres in mind. So in this first installment of this series I want to talk about my romance series, and I won't be dividing it into age categories, at least in this case. A, because I don't think that I have that many young adult romances on my top TBR, and B, sometimes it kind of blends if it's young adult, new adult or adult. So I'm just going to lump all romance books that I'm very excited to read into one pile, and without further ado, let's look at the books that I really want to read. So the first book on this list is a recent ad. I've been seeing this book around, but I only recently added it to my TBR, and that's She Gets the Girl by Rachel Lippincott and Alison Derrick. So this book is classified as YA, but it takes place at a university or college, so it's like the upper end of YA. And recently I saw Lucia from Lucia Meets Books rave about this book, and it reminded me that yeah, this is something that sounds really intriguing, so I added it to my TBR. As the title suggests, it's a sapphic romance, and the synopsis says she's all that means what if it's us, and I don't know what she's all that but I have read what if it's us, and it was like a young adult romance. It also says that it's a soon worth it Hey to Love YA romantic comedy. In this book we follow two main characters. So we have Alex, who knows how to get a girl but doesn't know that well how to keep that girl, and then we have Molly, who has everything under control except for her love life. She's a bit awkward and she has this secret crush, and they don't like each other very much, but then they realize that they can kind of team up and maybe achieve their goals together. So yeah, that just sounds like a recipe for a very good time. It sounds amazing, it has a really high rating, so yeah, I'm really excited to read it. Next on this list we have Astrid Parker Doesn't Fail by Ashley Herring Blake. So this is book 2 in the Brideful series. I just read Delilah Green Doesn't Care, book 1 in the series, last month, and I loved it. I gave it 5 stars. So yeah, picking up the sequel is a no-brainer. So I don't think I can tell you much about this book since it's like a continuation, and even like knowing about the existence of the book and the title like knowing that there's a book dedicated to this character, it kind of spoils the first book, but on the other hand, you know, it is pretty predictable what's going to happen in the first book. The first book was focused on Delilah, and Astrid is her sister. They have a very complicated sister relationship. Now, as adults, they are kind of finding their way to each other again. And Astrid was this character that was pretty closed off. Like, she was pretty private even to her best friends, and she was dealing with the situation that I won't get into in the first book. And yeah, I'm very excited what the second book is about. I don't want to look up too much about it, and yeah, I just want it to be hopefully a nice surprise. Then we have Rosalind Palmer Takes the Cake by Alexis Hall. So I've been very intrigued about reading something about this author, and you know, I really hope I'm going to love this. So this is an adult romance with a bisexual main character, and she's done everything by the book except for when she got pregnant and dropped out of college, and now she's in financial trouble, but then she lands a spot in a baking show. So that's very exciting, and she really hopes that that could really help her. And then apparently there are some sparks flying between you know, her and another contestant. So yeah, I'm very excited about this. It sounds amazing. I mean, a baking show. I've actually never seen the British Bake Off, but I love hearing about it. I have only seen like MasterChef, the US edition, and there was some baking. So yeah, I don't watch like cooking or baking shows a lot, but when I did, I really enjoyed them, so maybe I should watch them more. Then we also have Honey and Spice by Bolu Babaloa. So I have read Love in Color by this author, which is a collection of short stories. They are like mythology love stories retold, I really enjoyed it, and the synopsis says that it centers on a young black British woman who has no interest in love and unexpectedly finds herself caught up in a fake relationship with the man she warned her girls about. So apparently she has some activity where she like talks about red flags maybe, and yeah, fake relationship, love that, and also like falling for a bad guy. Maybe. So yeah, that also sounds really interesting. Next we have The Charm Offensive by Alison Cochran. So this is an adult contemporary romance. It's a male-male romance, and I heard a lot of things about this one. I heard some people rave about it, and I know that I was super drawn to it. Then I usually forget the details, but like I still remain really drawn to the book. So, you know, that's good, because upon reading it I realize how, like why I've been so drawn to this book. But anyway, apparently this is a book about our main character who runs a dating show, and then some famous guy enters the competition. Like he doesn't really want to, like he just makes it as a last ditch effort to like save his reputation or something. And you know, then it turns out that these two have a really good chemistry, so it sounds amazing. Then we have one historical romance, and yeah, I couldn't make a video about like my top 10 historical romances books on my TBR because I'm only actually interested in one at this point, but you know, I'm really interested in it, and maybe when I read it, it will spark like more interest in this particular genre. But that is The Perks of Loving a Wallflower by Erica Ridley. So this has an absolutely stunning cover. It's obviously a sapphic romance based on the cover, and yeah, I know nothing about it and I'm not really interested to learn that much about it. I'm just really drawn to it. And this is book 2 in the series, and I think that like maybe you don't have to read the first book, but I kind of want to, because yeah, I just prefer to start at the beginning, even though I am interested in later books in the series. So yeah, I just might read the first book and then get to this one and just see what I think about historical romance, or at least this particular one. But yeah, the cover, come on. Then we have another book that is the second in the series, but I have read the first book. I'm actually just rereading it to refresh my memory and to continue the series. Not that you need to, I don't think, but yeah, that's just how I like it, and I really like the first book, so I wanted to reread it in either way. But anyway, the book is The Pride Test by Helen Huang. In the Kiss portion, we learn about this group of people. So we have Stella, who is an econometrician. She's autistic, and the book is her romance with Michael. And then Michael has some cousins, and yeah, so this book is about his cousin named Kai. And Kai is also autistic, and apparently this is like arranged marriage kind of thing, or you know, his parents just get him a bride, I think. Again, I don't know much about like the sequels. Also, there's currently a read-along happening of the series that is run by Chloe Reads Books. I think it will start in June. So I will link the announcement video in the description. You can check it out. This is an amazing series, or you know, the first book is amazing, so chances are at least one of the other books will be amazing too, I hope. Next on the list we have The Romantic Agenda by Claire Kahn. So this is another adult contemporary romance with an amazing cover, and the synopsis says, Joy is in love with Malcolm, but Malcolm really likes Summer. Summer is in love with Love, and Fox is Summer X's boyfriend. That sounds like a lot. And then it says, 30, flirty, and asexual Joy is secretly in love with her best friend Malcolm. Wow, that sounds like trouble. Oh, and he unexpectedly announces that he's met the love of his life. Yikes. So this one sounds really fun. I have read another book by Claire Kahn that was Let's Talk About Love, which was young adult, and I didn't really love the writing, I remember, but I loved like the representation and discussions about asexuality and stuff. So yeah, I'm hopeful for this book, that you know, hopefully I will enjoy it a bit more. Okay, 2 more on this list. So next we have Girl Gone Viral by Lucia. So this is also book 2 in a Lucia series. So this is the Modern Love series, the first book being The Right Swipe, which is a book I read a few years ago and I really enjoyed it. So it was about this owner of a dating app, and then a guy ghosted her, and then she swore that she's not going to forgive him, but then they kind of meet again in a talk show. So yeah, I really love that book. I haven't continued with the series, so yeah, I'm really intrigued to continue. I don't know what the second book is about, as usual, but you know, since I really loved the first book, I hope that the second one will be enjoyable as well. And then the last one is, you guessed it, it's another second book in a series, and it's The Proposal by Jasmine Guillory. So this is the Wedding Day series, I think it's called. So I really enjoyed the first book in the series. I know that it has some mixed reviews. A lot of people didn't enjoy it. It has a miscommunication trope, I guess, which is annoying to a lot of people, including me. But for some reason, in this book, I just didn't mind it that much. Maybe I will change my mind when I reread it, because again, I want to reread the first book to continue with the series. But it just wasn't like a miscommunication like Romeo and Juliet type, which is something like, yeah, that I find that very hard to deal with. Like, you know, they just miss each other by like seconds, and then she will never know that he loves her or whatever. Yeah, I find that like can be like really frustrating. And this was more of a case of like, you know, they should have a serious conversation and they are kind of putting it off. And yeah, I just remember really enjoying it. So I'm interested in continuing with the series, and we will see if my opinion changes or what I think about the rest of the series. I think that in the second one we focus on the friend of the main male character from the first one, which should be fun. So these are the romance books that are at the top of my TBR. Let me know if you read any of them, or if you're interested in reading any of them, or tell me what's a book that's at the top of your TBR. Can be romance, can be whatever. So yeah, like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more. Thank you so much for watching. Talk to me in the comments, and I will see you next time. Bye!